tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
All right. Got that done just in time. Hey, Jerry, good afternoon, man. Good to see you. There is a oh, they left. Bummer. It would have been fun to have another person on from Instagram. So, yeah, this is my second one. I don't know why, and I don't know why because my mind is blank. Hey, David, good to see you again, man. Hope your day's going well. Yeah, it was just another one of those days where, everything wasn't sitting right for me yet. So, I thought I'd come on and talk about a couple of things. I was talking about triggers with one of my friends earlier, not necessarily drinking triggers. I got to do the other stuff first, huh? I always forget. I've been doing this 3 years and I'm still suck at it. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. I would appreciate it. So, and there again, I always extend to people that if you have had different experience or my experience backs yours, please feel free to put in a comment. I love throwing comments up there, and we can talk about it. So, but let's talk about triggers here for a second. So triggers. The first triggers really that we're going to start to deal with are the drugs and alcohol, right? Until that obsession goes away, there are going to be triggers all over the place. Heck, last night I was watching something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, they're having a beer and like, wow, that cold beer looks good. Even just for a flashing second, of course, my mind goes straight to other places. But, drugs and alcohol are out there, especially alcohol. It doesn't matter where you turn. You can't watch football. You can't watch TV. You can't leave the house. Even when I've noticed, even when I'm having if I put in Facebook, I'm having a bad day or I'm kind of down, suddenly I will start to get alcohol ads. I'll take it personally. I think that's just good, it's the way they work. Dude, that is mine. You may not have it. He'll get it. I spoil my cats rotten. It kind of ticks my wife off. But as we get into the program, and we spend some time in the program, and we work the steps, and we start to get through some things, we find that there are other things in this world that can trigger us. And not necessarily a trigger to drink or drug, but maybe a trigger that makes us angry, brings up our rage. Maybe it affects our anxiety or your PTSD or whatever multiple thing we have going on right now, right? And those can be the tough ones. That's when it gets really hard. And so we were talking, and she was just saying, if it wasn't for my group, I don't know that I'd really be on. And so I told her my trick. I removed everybody that talks shit. Not towards me, just talk shit. I just got rid of them. If they were really, really close, then I unfollowed them. I don't need to see that shit. I don't need to get caught up in I don't need to get caught up in child trafficking right now. Not that I don't know that it's going on and that it upsets me. It's just that that's not my lane. And then what's going to happen is nothing. I won't get any of it done. Right? Because I'm too focused on something that I shouldn't be focused on. But we have those passions. You bet we do. When it comes to homeless, I get very, very upset. I get very upset about the homeless. I've been talking to some people about it. The mayor and I didn't get to talk too much about it. But the thing is, with what we're talking about, it includes homeless. I included it in there. Um, you know, just like I was telling him, if I have a client or a sponsor or somebody that comes to me and they want to quit drinking, I am going to put a roof over their head first. Period. You can't stop me. Because it's a lot easier to get sober without with a roof over your head. And he had went and spent a week on the on Skid Row. Well, he said he went and spent a week on the streets. But you got to remember, his mindset was, this is not a forever thing. I'm going home on Saturday or whatever, right? But I did let him know that we really appreciate the fact that he did that and understand that. But then there were some things that he would understand that other people don't understand if you've never been homeless. The one thing that you lose almost immediately when you become homeless is your freedom, which sounds like it's almost the where you talk about you got no cares in the world. Your whole day is mandated by other people, your food, your shelter, your necessities, in order for you to survive, and you've lost all your freedom. Yeah. It is so much easier. Okay, I didn't know you were on. Thank you. Hi. I'll be getting to that. I got a long one. Oh, hey, David, I was trying to understand. My meeting was actually today. So, um, okay. So those triggers can affect us, right? And so remove them. Get rid of them, right? I want to see. I want to go read over what Carrie said here because a lot of times she says something I just fucking love it. I can remember back when kids trick or treat. It was me and all the parents walking around with drinks, beer, etc. So grateful I know of and attend sober Halloween activities, but always remember to check on each other. Triggers can happen. Triggers can happen to recover to people in recovery time and years of time. That's right. There you go. And I think Carrie says, yep, being homeless in Castle Rock was no fun. See? And you'd think, oh well, that's Douglas County. And you get no, you guys, those people don't even want to see you. In fact, I talked to a couple people that are getting ready to, voting is coming November 2nd, and they want to do something about the homeless. I'm like, hey, I've got something for you. But if you plan on any kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, I will fight you. I didn't hear back from him. His boss is Mayor Kaufman. So, he's going to listen to me either way on that, right? So if we you don't have to avoid the triggers, but set yourself up. If you can't get rid of it, then get rid of social media. I know a lot of people that social media is just too much for them. And I tell you right now, if I let everybody cross my boundary, no way I could be on Facebook. No way. I'm an emotional person, and I know that. So I don't put myself in situations where I can be over emotional unless it's on a positive note. Then absolutely. Right. So I'm going to tie this in with emotional sobriety. I thought this was a cool tie-in because I wanted to talk about these both. Your emotional sobriety and how you feel about yourself can also determine your reaction to your triggers. Right? So I'm going to pull out Language of the Heart, which I got from Jill. Jill, if you're on, she might be on and just half dozed right now. So, and this is called the Next Frontier Emotional Sobriety. I'm going to skip over some stuff. Geez, already 10 and a half minutes. I will answer the governor thing right after. As soon as I'll just go ahead and do it now. So I wasn't able to log in right. So there was no video for me. But my vice president had video. And he said that Mayor Kaufman was attentive the whole time. They were taking notes. So I pretty much did all the speaking. It took about 15 minutes because we were running late. And at the end, he said that he really appreciated this, and this was some great information. But then he had to get off because he was ready to go to the next one. And honestly, I was getting off the phone. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I thought we'd be setting up another time, little bit of dialogue. And my wife pointed out to me because she was listening, and she said, Dion, what they're doing is their meetings today. Then they're going to go do their meetings and get back in touch with you. That's what he was saying. Okay. That's why it's always important that we have other people, right? That we don't do it ourselves, because I was actually planning on going to the meeting myself. And then Gary and Shannon were like, well, you want us there? I'm like, yeah, I do. Now I know why. Right? That's emotional sobriety because I stopped and listened to myself. I stopped and listened to my wife instead of myself. All right. I think that many Ulsters, that's us guys, who have put our AA booze cure to severe but successful tests, still find that they lack emotional sobriety. Perhaps they will be the spearhead for the next major development in AA, the development of much more real maturity and balance, which is to say humility, in our relations with ourselves, with our fellows, and with God. So bringing humility into your own relationship with you be a great place to start, right? Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you confirming that, because you guys know how it is. We're alcoholics. We're paranoid. You know how it is. I know he just didn't like this one part. I'm never gonna, that's the stuff that we'll do to ourselves, and I ain't gonna do it. God's told me like 5 times it was fine, and it was. And I know that it went okay because I don't remember it. I remember being there saying stuff, but it means it went great. All right, so back to this. In our relations with ourselves, our fellows, and with God, the adolescent urges that so many of us had for top approval, perfect security, and perfect romances, urges quite appropriate to the age of 17, proved to be an impossible way of life when we are at the age of 47 or 57. So even in those adolescent urges, that came from something before. Okay. It means maybe you didn't get enough attention. Maybe you didn't feel safe. That's what I didn't feel safe in my home. Yeah, I am. At the plasma place. That's great. The thing is I had decided to put alcohol in me, and what that did is it stunted my emotional growth. And from the time I started drinking heavily, or started drinking, that emotional stuff stayed there, and I continued on, which means I continued to act whatever age I was when I started drinking. Have you kind of noticed that in yourself? Yeah. So what they're saying is they're not really appropriate at age 17, but at 57, absolutely not. No, they'll call you insane. Okay? Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Since AA began, I have taken immense wallops in all these areas because of my failure to grow up. See, you guys, we need to take this stuff and use it. This is the shit that I use for my PTSD. And I'm going to tell you, this was harder to do than the 4-step. I thought it was. Because you'll find out why. Okay. My God, how painful it is to keep demanding the impossible, and how very painful to discover finally that all along we have had the cart before the horse. Then comes the final agony of seeing how awfully wrong we have been, but still finding ourselves unable to get off the emotional merry-go-round. God, that's fucking hard. One of the hardest things I have done. Yeah. You know, my PTSD popped up. I was the poster boy for frothy emotional appeal, man. People were listening to me, but I had to be very careful on. You know, there are days on here I was bawling when I first started this. Okay, so how to translate a right mental conviction into a right emotional result, and so into easy, happy, and good living. Well, that's not only the neurotic's problem, is the problem of life itself for all of us who have gotten to the point of real willingness to hew the right principles in all of our affairs. Do you feel like you've gotten to a place and you feel like there's more? Because this is probably it. Dion, I feel like there's more. Yes, there is. And it's emotional sobriety. Sorry, checking time, make sure. Okay, so I'm going to read these last two. I'm going to read 2 more sentences here, and then we'll cover it and kind of wrap it up. Probably hit 20 minutes. I kept asking myself, why can't the 12 steps work to release depression? Okay. So what he is talking about here is in the chapter 5, okay, in the beginning, that there are also some of us with mental stuff, but we can get through it if we're honest. This is what we're talking about: depression, anxiety, ADHD. Okay. But yeah, you put a depressant down your gullet for 20 freaking years, you ain't coming out clean. You're not. Good chance you're depressed. Show me an alcoholic, I will show you another mental problem or another. Yeah, you guys know what I'm saying, right? But here, what he's talking about is, why are the 12 steps not relieving his depression? By the hour, I stared at the St. Francis prayer. It's better to comfort than be comforted. Here was the formula, all right, but why didn't it work? Suddenly, I realized what the matter was. My basic flaw had always been dependence, almost absolute dependence on people or circumstances to supply me with prestige, security, and the like. Failing to get these things according to my perfectionist dreams and specifications, I fought for them. And when defeat came, so did my depression. Right? And that makes it even harder, right? Makes it even harder. You're like, I'm going through depression. I'm going to try this. And then you fail. So, what is the answer? The answer is this: you cannot rely on anybody else for your emotions, for your happiness. It is not their job. And they can't give it to you anyway, unless you allow it. You can allow some. But in general, happiness is an inside job, man. That's between you and God. And the moment that we stop using other people to make us feel better, you're going to see a complete change in yourself. You're going to find a lot more serenity. And it's hard to do. It is. Especially when you got that paranoid little brain. It can be very confusing. Talk to someone. Talk to somebody like me, or Carrie, or David. people on here. Who else on here? These are all people that can help, that can talk to, because we can't, like I was saying, we can't expect that we did all that to ourselves to come out of it with nothing. I put myself in some very dangerous situations, and nobody wants to see that, dude. I put myself in some very dangerous situations. But the trauma came way before that. My mind was programmed way before that. Okay? Because I didn't feel safe at home, because home didn't feel like home. I feared my father. He was a very angry man. Until I got bigger. Then I didn't fear him. That's when the real anger started. Then he got really mad. Because I pushed him back. Push a 15-year-old kid, he probably push you back. By that time, it's like, you're not my real fucking father. All right, we should probably not open that can of worms, because then we're gonna have to talk for 15 more minutes. So, but yes, quit utilizing other people to make you happy, man. It's not gonna work. And they're human, man. Don't set them up for that failure. That's not cool, right? It's kind of like this, okay? Money doesn't make me happy, but it sure makes me happier. That makes sense? Awesome. All right, guys. I will be back tomorrow for daily reflection. And think it's time for Dion to decompress. All right, guys. I love you. Peace out. And have a day. Thank you for